Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Nadine, thank you. Nate gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. And welcome to the new members. I appreciate that so much. How are you guys? Also, speaking of members and all, and Nadine too, the giveaway winner was chosen. So, if it was you, send me an email and we will get your wax melts to you. If you haven't tried Nate's melts, they are incredible. Music melts, the link drops all the time. Check it out if you're interested in that kind of thing. I'm going to drop it right now. Let me say hello to you guys. Hey, Carol. Hey, K-Braze. Hey, Nate D. No, I just said hi to you basically, but still, hello. Let's see. Aries girl, good to see you. Hey, Crime Crochet and Coffee. Legendary CEO. Hey, Katie. Belinda, Honey. Hey, Kristen. Sarah, Miss Meta Mom. Hey, Chopper. Adrian, Clicker, good to see you guys. Hey, Belinda, Sarah, Shauna. Let's see. Hey, Neat Noodle. Oh, Riddler, thank you. Hey, T. Adams. Hey, Silver Turtle Lady, Tony. Riddler, thank you for gifting another membership. Hey, Night Stalker. Hey, everyone coming in. Good vibes, Stacy. So the plan for today is we are... Geez, my whole face was whited out. We are going to continue going through the jail file. So I had another case I wanted to talk about. I was considering doing a lab on today, but I need a little bit more information. So we are right at the beginning of the kites. I think this is going to be very interesting and entertaining. But these are the messages. I know I was, Nay. I don't know why. I don't have any lights on in here, though. It's just the screen. But these are the messages from... Letecia to the guards, if she had a complaint about something or whatever. Actually, Kristen, make sure your membership options are open. I wanted to show you guys that. The reason it took me a second to come on right when we started, I was looking for MetaMom's wish list. If any of the mods have it. So we're going to be sharing subscriber wish list this Christmas. I actually have another one we're going to do. Not today. I wanted to give it a couple days with MetaMoms and then we'll go to the next one. But if one of the mods has that still, or the GoFundMe link, if not, it's on the last video. And I need to pin the comment because I responded to a comment. But let's see. Let me show you guys this first. Where the heck's my StreamYard window? Okay, I lost you guys for a second. Oh, good vibes, Stacy. Thank you. That is really sweet. Just love you back. Thank you so much. Ooh, I love your glasses. You're adorable, Stacy. Hey, Scrabble. Pointer lover, good to see you. Oh, happy early birthday, Crime Crochet and Coffee. Hey, Amber. Amber has it live tonight on Delphi. What time is it, Amber? Hey, Jessica. Okay, so let me show you guys just a straight Google reaction to what is a kite. We've done this before, and I actually looked at a couple articles and things, but so in prison, a kite is an internal jail request, not a synonym for mail. Inmates use the term kite to refer to requests for something within the jail system, such as a request for mail that was missed during mail call. The term send a kite means to send mail or request to someone in prison. What is a prison kite? Formally, in order for inmates, here, let's look at this for just a second. This is prisoncongregations.org. Informally, notes passed from inmate to inmate using a variety of creative methods to reach cell to cell are sometimes referred to as kiting, also from inmates to guards. Formally, in order for inmates to make requests to speak to a pastor, mental health counselor, or other professional within the prison facility, they are required to fill out a short memo of sorts, commonly referred to as a kite. Once the request is completed, depending on the facility protocol, the inmate can then drop the kite into the internal mailing system and wait for a response. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And we're just at June of 2020. That's where we left off. I'm kind of just going through the prison file page by page. And there's some stuff that we've skipped over because we have several different versions of activity logs and things like this. Or like that. Hey, Theo, I'm so glad that you're here too. Hey, Nana. Hey, Lil Red. Good to see you guys. Oh, Legendary. Thank you for joining. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kristen. That's actually, it's a little bit, a couple years old. He was like 3 in that, and he's 7 now. Time freaking flies, you guys. Hey, Cosmic Lotus Consulting. Good to see you. Hey, Stephanie, blah, bitty, blah. Okay, so now let's go ahead and switch over to the kites. Let's see. Hey, Deborah. Hey, cutie pie. Okay, so immediately I rolled my eyes seeing this before we even started, when I was just looking to kind of see what we were going to be looking at. So this took place on June the 8th of 2020 at 12:26 p.m. She sends a kite out that says, I am unable to wash my hair, shave, wash back or butts, can't open the paper, and some days use the phone because I can't reach it. Can't write notes on attorney visits. This is cruel and dangerous, affecting my mental health. And they responded, the details of the grievance should be specific, including the date, time, and location of the incident or situation, other persons involved, and how the situation affected the inmate. Please resubmit. Please explain why you are not able to do these things. I know. And you know what? So Curious Jen, let me share her link, and Bendy's. You guys know they've been doing the files with us and obtain the files together. She has a live stream that is every single kite in order. This is more laid back, just kind of hanging out and reading them and talking about it. But some of them were not in the correct order. And she spent a lot of time on that, like trying to get it straight. And then on Jen Lou's channel, I put it twice. We had a discussion based on her live. The thing is, though, I was there, but I really probably only heard 30% of them. Hey, Katie, I swear she uses the grievance system like she used Google. All wrong. It's not your diet. I know she does. Just the same way if we think about the way she talked to Detective Bethel, right? Detective Bethel's like, if you have no information on where Gannon is, why are we talking? You do understand I'm trying to do a job here, right? Like, find Gannon. That's what I'm trying to do. We're not just going to sit back and chit chat about whatever. Okay, so this is June. That was the 8th. And then here, this one's the 8th again. So about 5 minutes later, she does another one. Hold on a second now. Before I even go here, we just heard a phone call where she's telling Amy that she likes Draper. That's one of the deputies. And I've been telling you guys, like, there's a feud going on. You can see it in the incident reports. Catherine Draper and Letecia. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Liquid Soul. So this is really interesting because, look, we had just heard that, which that phone call actually took place in November or maybe December. But she says, please get me away from Draper. She has harassed me since March. She showed inmates YouTube videos on me. She denied me visits. We have her caught with this charge nonsense because the other inmate wrote letters about C4 bombs, which my attorneys have, and Draper singles me out like always, and the handwriting is off, nor do I have a grandpa. Draper does this day in and day out, and jail allows all false info and retaliation. Again, they respond, the details should be specific, including the date, time, and location of the incident. It's not just, she makes me crazy. Let's see. Hey, Gracie. I know. Why does it feel like she's at a private girls' school somewhere? The drama, the trauma. Ugh, I know. Hey, East Texas chick. Hey, Erica Brady. Messy, messy, messy. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. They didn't respond until the 9th. That's interesting. So she put it out at noon, and they responded the next morning on the 9th at 10 something. Wow. So now we have June 13th. I know with George Floyd and all, but blank hit a cop on the stairs and gets to shower. Just saying, the white people are noticing. What? Again, the details should be specific, including the date, time, and location of the incident. Can you read? They've literally told you the exact same response time and time again, and you're still doing it. Hey, Kay. So that was on the 13th. They did not answer her till the 15th at 9 a.m. Now we have, let's see, continue on to the 16th. She says, requiring someone to get naked to put restraints on just to shower is a violation of my body and sexual preference. This is not a hospital with sick and with trained nurses. It's despicable, especially when males are in the ward. Not to mention, bird baths are not clean, spread germs, and are discrimination for women. Then they said your classification and alerts will continue to be evaluated and your restraints will be adjusted based on the details of your review. So based on your behavior, if you can be good and not try to, escape and, assault deputies, then you won't have to wear all the, you know what I mean, all the handcuffs and all the shackles to shower. Oh my God, Night Stalker, that ought to be a fly on that wall. Night Stalker says, could you imagine the convos between the guards and jail staff about her? No, I couldn't, but I would love to hear. I'm struggling today, guys. I got a headache. A nice hot chocolate with mellows. Yum, liquid soul. Okay. July 1st at 12:15 p.m. I have tried to get the provider to accommodate medical issues with my stomach for 4 months, and now I'm eating maybe once a day, if that. I paid to see medical 2 weeks ago, and nothing has improved. Huh? It's not the nurses, it's whoever this provider is. They never let the nurses help with the issue. They said, you will be set an appointment to address your concerns. Thank you. They did not give her an answer for a week. I wonder, we should be going through the incident reports with this to know kind of what was going on at the time. July 3rd. We are still waiting for my records to be released to my criminal defense attorney and civil rights attorney. Request has been made several times. Thanks. They say, again, the details of your grievance should be specific, including the date, time, and location. Please resubmit. I don't know. I wondered that too, Theo, with the talking in all caps. How's Bendy Lou feeling today? I'm not sure. I talked to her earlier. I need to check on her and see how she's feeling. Maybe she'll stop in at some point. I wonder how much money total has been put on her books since she's been arrested. Well, we do know for her time in El Paso County Jail, she spent around $5,000 in commissary. Curious Jen has the exact number, but I don't recall exactly what it was. Now we're on September 3rd. Wow, that's quite a jump, huh? Long time without her complaining. From July to September, she must have been gone. She says, I asked the jail months ago to move me from Draper. She continues to harass me. I don't eat or take meds when she is there. She shows other inmates pics. She comments harassment and my life is in danger with her around. No one in this ward bothers or harasses me. Mayer, Mahan, Malinsky, Morris, Strickland, and Yago are superb and don't harass. I'm threatened and afraid for my life around Draper. Wow, Letecia. You're afraid for your life around her, huh? Oh, Jessica, thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Katrina. Draper, blink twice if you need help. We need to rescue you. And now this one is much closer to that phone call. So she's on the phone with Amy talking about how Draper's so awesome and so cool and she loves everybody. Like she's buddies with all the guards. But in reality, hey, Carolina. Katie says, I've been up 17 hours hoping this will be my relax before sleep. Oh, I hope so too. I'm going to just say she should be afraid for her life every day. Well, just based on the incident reports we went through together, I agree. Because how we saw multiple times, just imagine the ones we didn't see or hear about. Because there is a lot of stuff that we haven't seen or heard. For instance, we know it's in the file that she called the tip line once in August. But in the calls, we got another call to the tip line in December. That was never in the file. So there are things that are left out. And several inmates literally said, if you don't move me, I can't control myself. I'm so angry around her for what she's done to her baby. Some mentioned, having kids. One mentioned having helped with the search for Gannon. And they truly could not control their anger around her. So now in Kansas, I am curious how many people kind of know her story. And it kind of seems like she's just like any other prisoner. I was actually listening to Amber on her replay about Watts, and she was talking about, him in jail and his job and stuff. And it's really weird to think about these very high-profile inmates just daddling around in the jail. Uh-oh, we got a UPS package coming. So it's going to get loud for a second. Hello, Meta Mom. Did any of the mods have her link so we can drop it again today? Hey, Brady Gardner. Okay. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Why come so hateful? This truck, when it gets a little closer, I'm going to mute for just a second so y'all don't kill your ears. Well, it's actually not that loud. I just learned today that Letecia ran from police when they first attempted to catch her. Well, you know what? We've been talking. Several of you guys have said, maybe we should rewatch the trial after these files because we have such a better idea of what was going on, right? So watching the trial will be quite different than the first time when we didn't know any of this stuff. And I think we're going to do that. I want to make sure to keep covering current and other cases. So we will have a few days a week after we get through the files that maybe we'll go back to certain people's testimony, especially the most impactful ones. Hold on just a second. Thank you. I want to rewatch the trial. I do too. Yeah, I do too. And if we do it in an organized way where it's particular people, I think it would be really fun. Okay, I got a package here. Oh, I know what it is. It's a Christmas present for Bentley. Okay. I would love to see that body cam footage too of her, her throwing her keys and all that stuff. Oh my gosh. Group chat watching with Zoom. That would be fun. But it's hard StreamYard is another version of Zoom. So anybody can get the link and come up on panel. You can have up to 10 people. I don't know. I'm going to think of a fun way for us to do that. All right, let's keep looking. You guys, YouTube streets are on fire. It is absolutely, it's really quite sad and embarrassing because the trauma communities are not true crime at all, but they're us, and many people, both and frequent both creators do both. Embarrassing to see some of the lows and all. This YouTube is a wild place. Hello, Michelle. I have rewatched a bit, learned more stuff I missed before. Nana, I know I will because I do not grasp everything the first time. It takes me a really long time. Uh-oh, my audio's cutting out. Hey, Nadie. Yeah, T. Adam. So when they went, I need to go back and listen because I don't remember exactly. But she threw her keys. Wait, was that the same event? I don't think so. I don't know. We need to go back and watch. I don't want to say wrong, and it's been a long time. I want to see Dr. Lewis's testimony again. I also wished we could see a better video of the mental health evals. I know, me too. Maybe I'll look and see if anybody's cleaned it up. Okay, Katie, thank you. Hey, Linda. Sound is good again. Thank you, Adrian. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why. I don't know. Okay. Now, this one is September 24th. She says, I want it on record that my arm has bruises from the deputy who transported me from visit on 9/22. She grabbed my arm and touched my breast. I asked her to reposition her hands and she refused. She used excessive force. Angry. I couldn't walk. Sorry. It is so hard to read these. Like, seriously. Look at this. I'm not. She used excessive force. Angry. I couldn't walk fast, but the leg restraints were wrapped around. My legs stuck. My leg has chain cuts, and my arm has her finger marks as bruises. I showed the nurse and deputies working tonight how bad the bruises got worse. The deputy was a black lady, and she transported me with Jago. It wasn't Yago. She is good. This is ridiculous to keep letting these injuries happen. Discrimination continues as I am the only female in this facility. This issue is being looked into. Oh my God. I'm still stunned she got into the school system. Yeah, me too. Why is she on caps lock? Who knows? I don't know, because look, the responses aren't. So I need to. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pull out my phone and pull up our calls from. Did we start? Let me see the first date we have. Uh-oh. It's going to go into my current live. Like Crime Curious says, a little study session together. Okay, so we have the first calls come from October. Excuse me. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and we may pull up and see what's going on those dates. So now we have, November 8th, 2020. She says, logistics. No commissary in this ward. Can't order chips, but chips come in lunch. No toothbrush, but people could choke themselves with tampons or the lotion cap. No socks, but we have pants which are stronger than socks. Besides, the ward has bra and panties. Several people not on lockdown or precautions and can't order. We are starving. 12 hours lapse between dinner and breakfast, and we are getting less than 1,200 calories a day. Poor hygiene as well, because special wards can't have towels, but the gray covers are the same strength of a towel. The people not on watches shouldn't be treated this way. Inmates must file their own grievance. Grievances submitted on behalf of another inmate will not be accepted. All right, let's go to Curious Jen's video really quick from November jail calls. And because hers is better with no commentary. For purposes like this, for research purposes. Plus, she always timestamps everything, makes it really easy to find. Thank you guys for being here, by the way. Okay. Videos. We have November jail calls. Okay, now let's look at this together just quickly. We have November 7th and 8th. She does one call with Harley on the 8th. She has on the 7th 2 calls with Harley and 1 with Brenda. This particular complaint was on the 8th. Okay. We're not going to go listen yet, but just so if we want to, we can. I'm going to keep it like that, and let's keep going. Can't see your comments, so hopefully everything's okay. Actually, let me just check on you guys for a second and make sure. Okay. Hey, Amber Lou. Teacup Kraken. Okay, so this is also 11:8. She says, sexism. Shaving for court is based on men. Women don't shave and show a judge. We also have to shave more often due to legs and arms. Oops, I dropped my lighter. Sorry. It's poor hygiene and harmful to our mental health to block us during COVID closing of. Again, the details should be specific. So this was on the 8th at 9 p.m. Her next one is on the 22nd. Let's go to the next one, then we'll check back in with the calls and see kind of, because she even has the exact time of the calls. I think it's just so cool that we can even find out who hangs up and, those kind of things. So on the 22nd, she says, I've been denied family videos this entire time saying this is a special management ward, but several people have had personal video visits in here. Why am 8 being denied them? And they responded, we are unable to schedule any visits for inmates in special management. This was an unintended consequence of closing the visitation center due to COVID-19. As you are aware, in special management wards, your unlocked time fluctuates day to day. Your family member does not have a time option. We are working diligently to find an alternative for online visits for our special management. So let's go back to this in November the 22nd. She has no calls on that date, but just prior to that, on the 18th, she does the call with the male inmate's mother. And then on the 21st, she talks with Amy, Brenda, and Harley. And on the 24th is when she calls the female inmate's uncle. Hey, Jay Kismet. I'm okay. How are you? Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Angel. Thank you guys for being here. We're just hanging out, flipping through these, trying to make sense of it. I thought she loved special treatment. She thrives on getting all the attention. Hey, Lucia. Did I say hi to you? I don't know. Sometimes we'll do it twice on accident. Hey, Angela. Because I don't want to miss you guys. I appreciate you being here. And I want to, I like individually talking with all of you. Okay, so wow, we skipped all the way to December 26th. Now, remember, like I said, Curious Jen says some of these are not in order. But she says, Deputy Riley needs to stop touching me near my private areas. It causes a mental breakdown from PTSD. This is why I met with a doctor for 5 hours last week. I understand searching, but not without warning before touching, because then my attacker's face goes on her body. Oh my God. And I see them instead. The details should be specific. Please resubmit. Then they say, what date and time did this occur? Pat searches are standard procedure in this facility. Is Deputy Riley doing it inappropriately? Please provide more details. I cannot believe her. This part specifically, because not touching without warning before touching, but not without warning before touching, because then my attacker's face goes on her body and I see them instead. Whatever. Now I'm going to go to December and see what was happening when this took place. Let's see. Remember, we listened to around their Christmas call. So this was the 26th. And on December the 26th, she has that one call with Harley. It's on the 30th that she calls the tip line at 11 in the morning. I have a lot of relatives that live in Kansas. Do I need to inform them about Letecia being in prison there? Maybe one of them. That would be interesting. Oh, by the way, so the Jens and I talked about putting in a records request to see what we could get, right? And I found the records department and just sent, like, we have a group email that we use for records request. So I used that email and sent it, and they had someone write back. I guess that person didn't work there anymore. But what I said was, I'll read it to you guys. I said, hello, I wanted to see if I could do a records request to request any and all information that can be released regarding inmate Letecia Stauch with her date of birth. She's currently serving a life sentence at Topeka Correctional Facility. Her interstate compact ID is 197179. Her inmate number is 129417. Thanks so much. Have a great day. So I forwarded that message to the second person who, because they like in their message that the person no longer works here, please contact this next person, Jem. Well, I forwarded that to him, and he almost immediately got back to us within a day and said, there are no records available in response to your request. Thank you. That's it. So, looks like we can't get anything from Kansas. And that was with the Department of Corrections. I know, Music City Mom. I think we should. After we go through this file, and even before we're done, I think that I want to branch out and find some other cases that we can get like this much specific detail on. It's really interesting to me. I like to hear the phone calls and know what was going on in there and stuff like that. Like, can you imagine if we got to hear what was going on with Adam Montgomery on the way to his trial, or Chad Daybell or Lori Vallow, and hear their phone calls and stuff? We know there's some pretty intense ones with Lori because there was just that one release at her trial with Colby. Dr. Torres said her description / knowledge of her mental illness seemed to come from movies and TV. I could see that 1,000%. What attacker. Scrabble, I don't know that one too well. I've watched a couple of Jen's videos on it. I would think that Kansas has to report to Colorado. We could request Colorado. Huh. I wonder if they do have to report, or if it was just like a trait. I wonder how they did that. I cannot wait to hear Sarah Boone phone calls. Oh God, I can just picture what will be on those already. Malingering. Okay. Let's go back to our files. I'm obsessed with these tumblers. You know, the tumblers that have like the texture on them? Let me turn on the camera for a second. I'll show you what I mean. Excuse me. Okay, so like this one shifts colors, like green to purple. You can't really see it out here, but it has like the texture. And then I just got one at Five Below that was glow in the dark, like a couple, I don't know, not too long ago. But I love these. They're so cute. Tumbler like a cup. Not that it's important. I just mention it because I went to grab it to get my water. And no way, Kathy, you did that. I still remember going through all the transcripts from Casey Anthony. Hey, Amy Rose. My daughter is obsessed with those. They're so cute. It makes drinking water easier. Does it fit under a spigot really well? Yes, I'm outside, Adrian. Yes. I wanted to smoke a cigarette, and we don't smoke in the house. I don't even vape in the house. I learned that vapes have a lot of secondhand smoke. Okay, when vaping first started, and we'll get right back into this, but let me just say, When vaping first became a thing, they, like you were hearing, that there was no secondhand smoke. It's vapor. It goes into the air. There is no secondhand. So I would hit my vape in my house. And then about a year ago, I saw a video about it, and that started to change my mind. Then we got one of those air purifiers because Bentley has really bad allergies. And if you hit that vape, a nicotine vape or any kind of vape, if you hit it, the air purifier will go from like 0.3 particles in the air to 9,999. So there's definitely some secondhand. Exactly, Michelle. It's not been around enough to know. I used to love an Orange is the New Black, you guys. All right, so now we're on to December 29th. She says, I reached out to you guys about this sexual harassment on December 17th, and I want charges on her for indecent exposure and sexual harassment. The retaliation is continuing. Why do you have PREA if it's not enforced? I shouldn't be punished consistently. Star 8 does not work in here. What is the process? Because the signs are wrong in here. Thanks. And they said, did you end up speaking to investigators about this? They did not answer back until, what? Look at this. This was put in December 29th at 11:52. They sent the response back on September 23rd of 2021. Now we're in May of 2021. She says, not that anything as ever done. What? Oh my God, I have to zoom up so y'all can see exactly. Not that anything is ever done. Just want it on record that I was injured on transport again. Just adding it to the list. 5521. Injury to leg. Look at that. Injury toll gland currently operating on one leg and a half. What? Can you not slow down? This is like my 7-year-old. He won't slow down when he's grabbing his jacket off the rack and he yanks them all down instead of like being careful and cautious and watching what he's doing. Can you not like slow down and just write it so that people know what you're saying? Oh my God. Hey, Victoria. You quit 5 months ago? That is awesome. I need to quit. I really do. Okay, Michelle, be careful. It would have been better if she drew it. Oh my gosh, though. It's like, dude, I swear it reminds me so much of my youngins. They just like are always in a rush and won't slow down and do things like carefully and correctly. 5/22/21. On 5/21, I had a professional at 11:30. The dep said to be ready. I waited, and then she said no one called, so no show. Just talked with fam, and attorney told them that I never came. This is happening again because they waited on me to be transported, and I never was after asking several times. The visit was canceled, so they let her know the visit was canceled prior to being transported from the ward. You're on the list. 9/6/21. Dep Meyer allowed another inmate to steal an item from my kosher and refused to replace it. Kosher falls under my religious amendment. Next, Trinity continues to violate kosher requirements by not wrapping properly and causing cross-contamination. Kosher has specific requirements which they refuse to comply. And they said, Ms. Stauch, please submit 2 separate grievances, one against Deputy Meyer and the other against the food services. Thank you, Anita. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Victoria, you said cigarettes and Mountain Dew were my combo. I quit Mountain Dew in October. It was harder than the cigarettes. Just typing this is making me crave one. Me too. I just quit Mellow Yellow. That was my soda, and I haven't had one for a few weeks. I'm just trying to, first of all, cut out any high fructose corn syrup, but also cut down on sugar. Katie says, I feel this is what ignorance bigger than anything in bigger than anything in the world look like. Hey, Eris. And gallons of coffee. Okay, thank you for being a member for 10 months. I don't know, actually, the answer to that, but thank you. Hey, Chatty Jen. She brutally takes someone's life and thinks she can debate food. It's disgusting. I agree. Okay, let's see. Okay, depth snipe is very inappropriate when she does searches. Also, on 924, she singled me out because I said people are being discriminatory towards females. I will not stop advocating for females because we are treated differently than males. She played the security card, but that's an excuse. She did not say anything to the others. Clear discrimination. They are also telling indigent inmates they can't have shampoo and posted a sign. It's really sad. Lil Red says, it's really sad. How did you graduate high school and go to college with such poor grammar and misuse of the English language? It's pretty crazy. It really is. To know how far she got, because as much as people want to argue it, she did complete the course for her doctorate. She did not turn in her dissertation, so she technically didn't finish, but she was very close, you know? Then the person writes back and says, when you say searches, what are you referring to? Cell searches? Pat down searches? I have witnessed her pat down searches and have never seen her conduct one inappropriately. I will discuss this with her further. As far as indigent inmates, they are provided a one-time issue when they are booked in. After that, they need to order it on indigent commissary. The ward does not provide shampoo. This is the same for all. Wait, there's indigent commissary? What is that? It is limited. This is from South Dakota, though, but I'm sure it's somewhat similar. Limited and controlled commissary for inmates with no funds and no immediate source of income at the time of purchase or in the immediately foreseeable future. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Let's see. Colorado. Prison Policy Initiative. Let's look at this. Just to see. I want to know. I just like to know the details of some of this stuff. So, Prison Policy Initiative, this is like a pro-prison website. And they say, for the poorest people in prison, it's a struggle to access even basic necessities. Our survey of all 50 states in the BOP reveals that prisons make it hard for people to qualify as indigent, and even those who do qualify receive limited resources. Many people in prison, many people in prison struggle to purchase basic hygiene supplies, stamps, and other necessities, thanks in part to the low wages they made before entering prison and the mere pennies they earn working behind bars. Most prisons claim to provide assistance to people who are extremely poor. However, our new survey reveals that these indigent policies are extremely limited, both in who they help and the amount of assistance provided. So in Colorado, you have to have between $0 and $5 to be determined indigent. Before they're provided with essential items like shampoo and soap. Wow. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Christine. Yes, it works, Mrs. Christine. Hey, Michelle G. I wonder if they are lighting the tree tonight in Disneyland. So they have an indigent. That's really interesting. Are they essential? I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Let me see what I can find here. So this is from Bing, and then we're going to get back to it. But it says this is about Colorado. Indigent commissary refers to the provision of basic necessities to incarcerated people who are extremely poor or indigent. In Colorado, the Department of Corrections provides a canteen service that allows inmates to purchase items such as food, hygiene, and clothing from commissary. Inmates who are deemed indigent may be eligible for indigent commissary, which is provided once every 30 days. The eligibility is determined based on the spending balance at the time of the request, with no commissary purchases within the current calendar month. So if they have no purchases within the current calendar month, that's really interesting to me. Okay, let me check on you guys and we'll read a few more of her Kites. I agree. Janet says, I agree. There is sexism in prison. She should have gotten her head shaved and too. And Lori, I was looking forward to it. Oh, thank you, Liquid Soul. Uh-oh, crime crocheting coffee. For some reason, I volunteered to make a bunch of small gifts for my church group, like 80 bookmarks. Hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, no doubt. It's for the people that have no money, right? Which Letecia had a lot of commissary purchases. She would absolutely never qualify for something like that. And we know that. I just, I think that it was interesting to kind of know more about it. Now we're in September of 21. And she says, ward rules are not updated in the ward in blank. We are being treated differently than males. On September 23rd, before my WebEx, Deputy Snipe searched me inappropriately, and there is no need to feel on inmates that way. She also used gloves to search everyone, then used those same gloves and rubbed all on our masks, checking them. And Yugis are prompting clean environments. I can't even read this. Look at this. She used gloves to search everyone and then used those same gloves and rubbed all on our masks, checking them. And Yugis are promoting clean environments. She's such a prison Karen. Yes. We don't know. I don't think so. Now, as far as what's happened in Kansas, I don't think that we can find anything. Christina says, I'm not understanding DOC not releasing her stuff. I put in many court requests on other things and never been told no, but I've never requested from DOC. Well, I read it word for word. I don't know. Maybe there's another way we can try. If you guys want to help me, I don't know. It's interesting, though, because before I ever sent the email, we were kind of told and given a heads up that you can't get anything from Kansas. Hello, Curious Jen. Beautiful. We were just talking about you. Actually, all through this, we chatted about you. And your organization of all these kites. And I mean, like I said, she worked on that hard. It was days and days of trying to get it together. What the heck does that say? She probably meant Ewan's. I mean, hell, at this point, I'm convinced at this point she was the one entering the kites for the whole pod. And it's typing. It's like, you know what? Backspace. I just think that I wonder if you can, I don't know. I feel like you would have gotten further with these complaints if they were comprehensible. Snipe is denying inmates shampoo and deo. When Rule 11 of Ward Rules says hygiene will be available upon request, several people are indigent in here. They must file their own grievances. Letecia, she's the voice of the people in prison, though, and we've seen that in multiple ways, including the lawsuit, which here we go. This is on that track. So November 19th, 2021, she says, Trinity continues to violate kosher. On the 19th, I did not receive breakfast because of their lack of consideration for First Amendment. The tray was an open tray with non-kosher food dripping on it. Kosher must be wrapped or it's unclean. On 11/15, they serve non-kosher items as well as on 11/14. I have tried to talk to them several times. She wants kosher because you get a better meal, period. But, you know, we know that she was caught eating non-kosher snacks from commissary, so she lost that. I mean, I don't know how that ends in a lawsuit, but it does with Letecia. Welcome, Christina. Thank you for joining. A partridge in a pear tree. I know. I can't wait to use my little Christmas background and stuff, but I haven't exactly decided what I want to do exactly. So on 11/19, Spec Armstrong interrupted my professional 3 times and told us to end it. This is disturbing. There were empty booths available. Hold on just a second, you guys. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. Carrie said she must have been getting money because they told her she wasn't indigent. Ignorant. Ignorant, yeah. Indigent, no. That was a pretty good one. Luda. Oh my gosh. Please work, StreamYard. Okay. Couldn't get the comment off the screen. I'm sorry. Okay, so Spec Armstrong interrupted my visit 3 times and told us to end it. This is disturbing. There were empty booths available. I wasn't in the contact room. They drove from Denver, and this is absurd. I cannot be limited to 1 hour with the amount of work we have, plus my mental health visits. This is unacceptable and a violation of privacy, especially when there were booths available. There is no Specialist Armstrong. Do you mean Specialist Augenstborg? Has your attorney addressed this? Sorry, there's not even a person with that name. Okay. February 12th, 2022. So we're getting through these. Medical is refusing. Oh my God almighty, she did not. I need to zoom on that. Do y'all see this? If you are looking and not just listening, please look at it. Yeah, it's just... Medical is refusing to treat my IBS after kiting them several times and denying basic medical needs. I had meds for 18 months here. Then they started taking them all away. They are contracted by the jail. I called the 1-800 number and left messages. I wonder if we'll get those calls. Oh, Victoria, thank you for joining. Hey, Mia. Ooh, I like Billie Eilish. What are you doing, Crumb Crochet? Let's see. It's online. I'm trying to figure out what her inmate number is. Her inmate number is 129417. It's only on the Getting Out app. It's really hard to find. Why are these doctors not doctoring? Mia, thank you for joining. I'm sending her a recordable Christmas card. Lord have mercy. They said, you have not had any medication discontinued this year for IBS. You have been put in for a provider review. $214. Okay, so this was put in on Valentine's Day of 2022. $214. My kosher was canceled, and there isn't any proof of this. I show others different recipes, but I use my own kosher to cook for myself. Oh, this is a violation. I was in court on this day in question, and I didn't even eat the lunch at court because it's not kosher. This is false. Miss Stauch, per the information provided, you were seen eating non-kosher commissary items / food. If you believe this is not accurate, you must get with floor security in order for that information to be redacted. Programs is unable to place you back onto a kosher diet until then, or you can reapply in 6 months. Thank you. Thank you for just telling her exactly how it is. Hey, MK. Hello, Margie. My first live. I usually catch you on replay. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. It's online. I'm trying to figure out what I mean. Okay, I already read that. Hey, Ruby B. All right, let's do a few more. That's okay, MK. Good to see you, though. Yeah, you guys, you might agree. You might think differently. I don't know exactly what's happening, but that's okay. We don't all have to agree, but we all are friends and we like each other and we're all interested in this information. So we're just hanging out and yeah, no reason to. I'm telling y'all, there is enough fussing and fighting going on everywhere. You know what I mean? Even look at the war. It's just too much stress for me. I'm too high stressed. It's that kind of stuff is tough for me because it truly, really affects me. Okay, so we're on March 23rd, 2022. She says, I went to CMHIP, that's the hospital, and came back to my stuff missing, damaged, and my Bible scratched. I don't know what drugs Depp Reich was on to pack up my stuff thinking I was gone. What? I don't know what drugs this deputy was on to pack up my stuff thinking I was gone. Either she is incompetent on drugs or the communication here failed. My Bible was $60 and it's all scratched up and the pages wet. My radio was left on and ran down batteries that costed, oh my God almighty. My radio was left on and ran down batteries that costed $1.10 each. Pickle juice damaged a book. Aspirin and sugars are destroyed. My book was $16.99. My battery's $2.20, and my Bible has been damaged. This is ludicrous. She even turned away my commissary, and I have nothing. How do I get this corrected? Oh my God almighty. Now, this is so funny, but this is how you spell ludicrous, right? It's amusing or laughable through obvious absurdity, incongruity, exaggeration, or eccentricity, meriting derisive laughter or scorn as absurdly inept, false, or foolish. The way Tisha spells it is the rapper, you know. What was it, Crumb Curious, that you were like, Luda? I don't know. Let's see what the response she got. The details should be specific. Please resubmit all that. And then it says also, it is not necessary to make derogatory statements when submitting your grievance. Lord help us. We're going to be, we will have lost our minds fully by the time we get to the end of this. Hey, Mrs. Bendover. Hey, Lisa. Her mama never taught her that you catch more flies with honey. They broke out the good stuff. Where in the hell did my vape go? I'm sorry, you guys. My squeaky chair. Well. All right, let's go through a few more, and then we'll wrap it up quick today. Maybe we'll just sit and chat for a minute, and then we're still only on page 1644 out of 2924. Okay. Oh my God Almighty, here we go again. So the last one was 324, same day. Listen to this. I can't even believe it. The first sentence. I don't know what drugs your deputies are taking, but the discrimination on me is cantankerous. What? Is that a word? Cantankerous. Oh my God, my brain. Yeah, it is a word. Dang. I'm surprised she used that word. It means bad-tempered, argumentative, and uncooperative. Whoa. I don't know what drugs your deputies are taking, but the discrimination on me is cantankerous. A seg was put in on me and blank. So half the time she's using words. Oh my God, I just can't get over it. I'm sorry, you guys. I know you know exactly what I'm thinking and meaning, but it's so frustrating. Okay. She was my cellmate for months. She didn't want to go to the tower, and that had nothing to do with me. She and I should not be segged. I am kiting inmate class, but administration needs to be briefed on continuing to make incompetent decisions. I am being discriminated on based on my case. There is no issues with blank and this is frivolous. There are no issues with blank and this is frivolous. But sure, use words like cantankerous. Your grievance is not being accepted. Grievances must be written in a professional manner, i.e., no profanity, sarcasm, or derogatory statements. Please Kite classification to informally and respectfully ask about your concern. Segs are only reviewed when both inmates submit seg removal forms, but even then, it is not guaranteed that they will be removed. And remember, we did read through a couple of those. Hey, girls, Nana. Why come? How does she know those big words? I don't know. Expeditiously, as T.I. would say. Hey, Kathy. Tia just got here. Who said that they want to hear Dr. Lewis again? You couldn't pay me. Using words incorrectly is officially... I can't wait to tell Bendy that one. Using words incorrectly is officially known as Sarah Booning. Aunt B equals family member. Gemini Moon, I don't know. I think so. Like they can accept books like straight from Amazon or the bookstore, but there's not a lot that you can send them. But I think really only books, pictures. Okay, so this is April of 2022. She says on 421, 422, and 423, the Deps refused to let anyone clean. The week prior, it was 4 days in a row until I asked Dep Mata to let me clean due to the extended time without it. This happens on night shift regularly. We have a ward trustee and people who are responsible to clean. This is a health hazard. Blood pathogens from sanitary napkins and COVID. I understand they have freedom, but setting on chat boxes and shopping should come second to us cleaning. I know this because we watched Ralph on the 23rd do it all night on the PC through the reflection. She's mad the deputies are in chat rooms and shopping. So they wrote back, listen to this. While you were on your timeout, you are more than welcome to clean the ward if you feel it's unsanitary. Inmates are not required to be let out nightly to clean. Additionally, blank was locked down on that date due to poor behavior. I wanted to stop there, but we're gonna have to continue with one more. This is July 4th. Let me check on you guys though. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I continue to be shocked and surprised, but I do. Hey, Chrissy, thank you for joining or rejoining. Many of you guys, but thank you. If you can lean, you can clean, baby. Ain't that the truth? Linda, thank you. It's feeding season. We ride at dawn, people. Oh my goodness. She is the biggest snitch, T. Adams. But the funny thing is this, she had several fights and several instances where she was calling other inmates snitches. And then we were seeing her continuously going to the deputies, telling them things that other inmates were doing. Oh, really, Wendy? Wendy says, I watched her documentary and couldn't get through it because she talks the same. Her before everything she says. Oh my God, Amy. Amy says, when my child was missing for 4 months, I didn't eat. I didn't wear a coat. I didn't know if my kid was hungry. I didn't know if my kid was cold. I had to be locked up in a psych ward. Still have nightmares. I'm so sorry you went through that. I cannot imagine. What's that smell? I cantankerous. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start using that word now. Cantankerous. Okay. Now we're on July 4th. And it says she says on June 8th, I let the ward deputy know that inmate blank had drugs. I even told speaking of her being a snitch, she says, I even told the hearing board that drugs was in blank in massive amounts on our recorded hearing. I had to take it right up to get away from the drugs. It's a shame people continue to die even when others try to let people know. But yet everyone was focused on writing me up instead of the real issue that drugs were there in large amounts. Such a shame. And they said, please be specific on where you're wishing to grieve. The rules apply to everyone but her. Can't take her as crap anymore. I think she said that, Chopper. I really do believe that she said that herself. That's why she needed the dictionary. Huh, that's really interesting. She is really giving me a temp. Mad emoji. Which one, Curious Jen? The one that we're on about the drugs? Probably good I'm not on panel A. If you want to give your thoughts, I'll drop a link. I'm about done. I was going to end on this one. I guess we'll go and see one more and see what it says. Girl next door says, my son was missing for 30 minutes and I literally went into shock. Couldn't talk, couldn't move, completely shut down. Turns out he was helping teachers set up oh my God, thank God he was okay though. Curious, I like when you're mad on a panel. Okay, let's look at one more. This one is August 10th. She says, the out group that is out from 5 to 8 never gets to come out until after shift change except with Deputy Bird. For example, August 8th, Deputy Ralph refused to let the group out when the last breakfast tray was served at 5:02 a.m. We did not come out until 7:08 a.m. Why do we have this out time if no deputy lets us out except Deputy Bird? The same serving method is used at lunch and dinner. The out groups come after the trays are served. Thank you for the information. I will look into the matter. Hello.
Hello.
What are you up to?
It was so funny. I was closing out of YouTube right as you said, I like it when you're mad.
I definitely want to hear your thoughts. I'm just,
Yeah. So the one that really does make me mad is it was the one that you were on where she was talking about, I told you guys that there were drugs in massive amounts. First of all, there wasn't drugs in massive amounts. I mean, I don't, I mean, there weren't like kilos under somebody's mat, I mean, it just, what does that
yeah.
mean, Letecia? Like 10, 15? What?
Wrong.
But the way that she wrote this, um, she's saying that she tried so hard to let people know and she was ignored. And they were so busy being focused on writing her up that they wouldn't listen to her when she tried to warn them that somebody was going to die. And this is in reference to another inmate that did die. She overdosed while she was there in the jail, which is wrong and it is unfortunate. And El Paso County does have a lot of issues. And especially from 2020 to 2023, there were so many inmate deaths in that time. I'm probably going to do a live just on that topic where I go farther into the Renee Lawrence situation.
Oh, I would love
Um,
that. I was wondering if there was really, because the way that she wrote it, it made me think, I bet you somebody did OD or something in there.
yeah, well, that's the thing, and everything that she learned about mental health in order to exploit it, it's along the same lines. Yeah, the jail did have issues. The jail was sued by people other than Letecia for things like medical negligence,
Right.
and there were a lot of issues. Letecia wasn't necessarily a victim of any of those issues, but Letecia finds out that there's issues, and then she wants to exploit them
Oh,
and
yeah.
figure out how that can be twisted to benefit her as an alleged victim of whatever the issue is. And meanwhile, she tries to lead the people who are actually affected by the problem.
I know. It's like she like takes on this role as the voice of the people, even though she does nothing but put them down, like all the addicts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Oh, they're so dumb they can't do it. Letecia, I can't believe she used the word cantankerous. I didn't even know if that was a word or not. I was like, ah.
Oh,
I can't imagine when you did this, like when you organized all the kites, because I was telling them at the beginning, we're just laid back reading through the file and talking, but you have a video out where you've organized all these in order and read through them all. And it took like a while for you to organize them and stuff. I can't imagine how chaotic your brain was because even just reading them for an hour, I'm like, ah.
yeah, so they're not in the file by date. They're in the file by category, and there were some duplicates. And so I wanted to read, because I would read through like all of the ones that were sent to mental health, and those were in order by date. But, a lot of times she sits down at that kite machine and she sends off kites in 4 different categories, and those all get filed in a different place. So I wanted to see it like in real time, like when she sits down, I want to know all 4 that she writes in that moment.
Right. It's so cool.
And so I actually printed them all out. Every single kite is 1 page of that damn report. And I can't even remember how many hundreds of pages it was. Do you remember, Allie? It was at least 400.
Oh yeah, I don't know. The whole thing altogether is 3,000. Now the kites, I don't know because I've only watched you and like read through them on here. I haven't really went any further than what I am in the file. Like I haven't scrolled ahead because I don't want to get lost of where I was at. So I kind of just scroll a little bit
Right.
and then go back. I gotta say though, while you're up here, because there's a lot of comments about this. Last
Uh-huh.
night, the podcast, oh my gosh, it was so good. I loved it. So many people loved it. It was excellent. I am so excited.
I'm really excited for next week. Next week, we're going to open up the panel and bring people up for questions too. Yeah. So I don't know why, but I was so nervous.
Oh my God, you did a great job. And it's just so cool because, like, we have all these things we're already talking about all week. And then you get up there and you can kind of like ask him. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
really interesting. And I think it'll be so cool, like, as we follow Adam's trial and all these
Yeah.
upcoming trials and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially during trials. I can't wait. I'm so
Everybody
lucky
loved
to,
it.
I'm so lucky to have that. But yeah, thank you.
It
And
was
I think
awesome.
it's going to get better and better.
And Chris, he's just like so easy to talk to and so personable and so like kind and like really kept an eye on the chat. It was like he'd been doing
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
his whole life. I was like, dang.
he's great. I mean, I know a lot of attorneys, but as far as sitting down and squeezing answers out of him to my questions, he has, in my experience, he by far is the best person to answer my questions. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of attorney friends.
Right.
Some of them use 10 words when only 2 are necessary, you
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
and Chris doesn't do that. And just like reaching out to a forensic psychiatrist for the book, you know, forensic psychiatrists have their own language. Attorneys have their own language. You know, they speak in legalese, and that's just not the same as you and I are going to have a conversation.
Right.
And it's not that I need him to dumb it down because I'm still trying to learn something.
Yes.
I
Yep.
just need him to use my language, and he's so good at that.
He is so good at that. Okay, so you're reaching out to a criminal psycho. What did you say?
Forensic psychiatrist, yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
I know that you haven't seen the documentary with good old Dorothy Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who did that documentary, the writer and director, his name's Alex Gibney, and I'm a huge fan of his. He did a documentary about Hunter Thompson that changed my life.
Oh.
He also did a really cool documentary about Scientology. But anyway,
Ooh,
I
I
love
might
his
like that
work.
one. Yeah, I'm into that stuff.
Yeah, but in that documentary, what I learned was that Dorothy Lewis has a nemesis,
Oh.
and he has he testified against her in some really big cases. The biggest and the most contentious of those cases was Arthur Shawcross in New York, and she embarrassed herself on the stand.
Oh.
You know,
Again?
sans wheelchair, sans old age. It was, I mean, if Dave Young and Michael Allen would have been barking at her and telling her she was incompetent while she was on the stand, I mean, that's really what it was like with the Shawcross trial.
Wow.
It was very contentious. I mean, it's an adversarial system anyway, but this was like,
Right.
I don't know, this was the Super Bowl of trials, I guess.
Oh, I love that. I would have loved to see it.
Yeah, so the guy who testified, he's testified against her in a lot of trials, but his name is Park Dietz, and he is now semi-retired, just like Dorothy Lewis, right? But he works more with Hollywood, and he also has God, it's been so long since I looked into it. I can't remember the name of his company, but he's got a company where he does consulting, and here, let me just go to the website. Anyway, I've yet to speak to him, but over the last year and a half, well, no, over the last year, because I learned about Dorothy Lewis on September 15th of 2022 is when Dorothy Lewis's name was finally used in court.
Oh.
And I looked her up that night,
September
and I was
of
like, you've got to be
2022.
kidding me. Yeah, September 15th, 2022. It was in one of the pretrial hearings when they were going back and forth. And they didn't want to use her name. The defense didn't want to say her name, and it was so obvious that they didn't want to. At one point, Judge Werner says to Tellini, he's like, listen, I'm going to need to know the name of your doctor because I'm going to have to file or make an order for state rate, state pay. You know, because the judge was assuming that the state would be paying for this expert witness, because that's the way it usually works.
Yeah.
And then Tellini pipes up and he says, well, with all due respect, Your Honor, the state isn't paying for our doctor, so we don't need to tell you her name. And I'm like, oh, damn it. There's something about this doctor. You know, I mean, it was so weird that in the very next hearing is when Tellini actually, no, I'm sorry, Judge Werner actually said her name because her name was used in a filing that was right before that hearing. And so then Judge Werner said her name in court, and I'm scribbling like my pen's on fire because now I know who this doctor is, you know.
And then you go to research her, I guess, right?
Right. And so anyway, in watching that documentary, I found out who Park Dietz is, and I have built a pretty good relationship with his secretary. She is very nice to me, and I think it's probably more up to her than it is up to him if I'm able to use this stuff in the book or not. So I'm working on it. Well, it's tricky because he can't, it wouldn't be good for him to come out and say what he wants to say about his career-long nemesis, Dorothy Lewis. See, he doesn't believe dissociative identity order even exists.
Oh, wow. See, that's really interesting because a lot, it's a, you know, an argument in that field if it does even exist, which is wild.
Right. So I know that, you know, if he is able to help me, it's going to be very carefully done without, you know, being sugar-coated or bullshit, I guess, if that makes any sense.
I cannot wait to read if he does, because that is just so fascinating to me. I really want to hear like experts kind of debating and battling out not only DID, but also kind of how it relates to her, to Letecia. So
right. Well, and Park Dietz has the same thing that Chris does. So even though most forensic psychiatrists speak a language all of their own, he has the ability to communicate with somebody like myself who's just trying to learn and document the process.
Right.
So I'm really hoping it works out. And I have a plan B if it doesn't work out, because, you know, not everything in this project has worked out. Trust me, not everything has worked out. And you adjust, and then you say, okay, well, what does it look like now then? Okay, let's do that.
I just can't wait to see the finished product. I know you feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's just so much, like we see some of these books, even like with Watts, what I talked about the other day, we have 20, 30 books on that case, and they're all done so quickly. I mean, there's 4 or 5 books put out by one author in 2 years, or, you know, and I can't wait to see it done correctly with real research and factual information. And you're just like, I don't know, you're a wealth of knowledge with this. I think that you're going to do excellent. I cannot wait to read it.
I'm kind of hoping that Liberty University gives me an honorary doctorate. As soon as my work here is done. Can I get one of those doctorates? What's up?
Hey, Emma says, who paid for the doctor?
The doctor was paid through, was paid for through something in Denver. It's an organization in Denver called the Office of Alternate Defense Counsel. It might be alternative. It's either alter or alternative. So it's the OAD. And that's who actually assigned Tellini and Cook to Letecia's case.
Is that a nonprofit or something?
It's not a nonprofit, and it's just separate from the court.
Okay.
Now, the weird thing about it is, Dorothy Lewis was still actually paid by the state, just not in the traditional way through the court and the judge. It's still taxpayer money in that OAD organization. So she was still paid for by the taxpayers. It was just through this outside organization.
That's so interesting.
Let me see. Yeah. I was going to look at that too. Yeah, the Office of Alternative Defense Counsel. And just real quick, it says, the federal and state constitutions provide that an accused person has the right to be represented by counsel in criminal prosecutions. This constitutional right has been interpreted to mean that counsel will be provided at state expense for indigent persons in all cases in which actual incarceration is a likely penalty. And I won't keep going on, but this is who stepped in after she successfully argued a conflict with the public defenders.
Oh.
And then, and then she went pro
Wow.
se.
Okay. So they're like,
And
well,
then,
yeah.
so while she was pro se, the Office of Alternative Defense Counsel came in and gave her Josh Tellini as, and listen, the judge was real clear, like, he doesn't work for you, but, this is her co-counsel. He was supportive. She could ask him questions about,
Wow.
the process and how it all works. But in that time where she was pro se and Josh Tellini was co-counsel, something happened where she agreed to, build a defense team with him as the attorney. And then at the very next hearing, she was all confident about it. She's like, I have absolute confidence in my attorneys and I trust them to do it for me. So I don't want to go to court today. Remember when she was like not showing up and
yes. And the judge was like, you have to be here. Like next time. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is so interesting. So no wonder why like the paper, like, cause I was wondering why Tellini was still listed as like a lawyer at times. And in some of this, I think the jail files or maybe the case file where she was pro se, you know what I mean? So that makes sense. Okay.
Right. And one of the things that I learned about Josh Tellini, and that is definitely his post that we read through last night, on BuzzFeed. Mm-hmm. I mean, 100% it's Tellini, right? Even though it's anonymous. But I do feel for him because the reason why, I'm assuming this part. I assume that the reason why Tellini was assigned to Letecia Stauch is because he is a well-known advocate for people who are incarcerated or in the system that do have legitimate mental health issues, where the penal system goes beyond punishment for, that it's more than punishment because it's actually the incarceration is actually making their mental health worse. And, we're not talking about murder cases necessarily, but, let's say you just can't stop getting DUIs and, I don't know. I don't want to go too far. And I did hear you say that you wanted to go soon. So I didn't mean to.
No, I love it. I love this discussion. I love hearing about it. So you're fine.
But it's my understanding that Tellini truly cares about people with mental illnesses. And in that way, he is an advocate. And and so he got hooked up with Letecia, who is exploiting the entire thing. And he had no choice. And he still gets death threats to this day. Now, I'm not a huge fan of his, right? He's answered a few of my emails. He's been nice enough to me. I saw him in court a lot. Chris knows him. They're defense attorneys in the same district,
Right. I feel I have a lot of sympathy for him after that article. I mean, I even have a little for Will. However, I gotta say there was
I have less for Will.
Yeah, because there was a difference in their behavior and their attitude and all of that, and 100%. And then you read that, and it's just like he felt like I don't know. I think there must have been this internal moral battle within him during that time, and he's like, my reputation's. I've worked so hard on trying to like do the right thing and build a good reputation, and then boom, gone because of this.
Well, I remember, how I kind of talked to you before about just the feeling in the air when we were in the hallway getting ready to go in court, and then there was like Albert's group of people, and there was Landon's group of people, and there was a group of press people, and you could just, it was this weird tension. Yeah. Well, I sensed that in one of the pretrial hearings, and I think it was August 25th. Let me see. Yes, it was August 25th of 2022, and that was one of the days where the air conditioning in the transport van that took her from the jail over the courthouse for hearings. It was one of the days that the air conditioner didn't work. And it's August 25th. I mean, it was hot.
Yeah.
And then they had to like leave her sitting after they got to the jail, or after they got to the courthouse, they had to leave her sitting there for a while because like the holding cell wasn't ready or something. So she's in this van with no air conditioning, you know, right before court. It really pissed her off. And so as soon as the judge was done and closed up the hearing for the day, they shut off the WebEx, you know, at the end. But she was pissed. She was popping off at the judge, and she was talking about, you know, she was bitching about her civil rights. And I mean, you would have thought she was making a political statement. Now, she wasn't allowed to look at us in the gallery, and there was no jury at that time, so that wasn't an issue. But she was not supposed to make, you know, like eye contact with anybody other than the attorneys and the judge.
Wow.
And yeah, and so she's yelling these things at the judge, but really she's wanting like the journalist to know. You know what I mean? You know how she says something to one person, but she, you know, it's clear that she's talking to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she was doing. And I think that day it was because, yeah, August 25th, it was because of the air conditioning. And then September 15th, it was because she didn't have hygiene. They didn't allow her. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. And she was saying that's why she wasn't coming or wasn't going to come or whatever. Thank you, honey, by the way, for joining. Oh my gosh, what I would have given to be a fly on that wall or be in that room with you. I think that's just so interesting.
It was weird. It was weird at a lot of times.
Do you remember the hearing where she like stands up and does the spins and flips the light switches and all that stuff towards the beginning?
Yeah, she didn't. That wasn't from the courthouse. That was at the jail on one of those times that she refused.
And the courthouse.
Right.
Whoops, I just got a call.
Did that mess me up?
No, it like
Oh,
the
yeah,
word
you're not
courthouse sounded real quiet, but you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so that was one of those days. Are you talking about where she was flipping the light switch and she spins around and she's like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then she's like pressing buttons on her imaginary thing on her arm and stuff.
Right, that was a keyboard. We learned later that what she was pressing on her arm was a keyboard.
Oh my God.
She had drawn a keyboard. I think we learned that from a phone call that she made to Harley. And then I think it's backed up in one of the incident reports.
Wow. I don't know. There's just so much information. Some of it doesn't stick in my head. Well, let me ask you a couple questions before we go, which I don't have to go right now. I don't have to be anywhere till like 8, but I just didn't want to like be too redundant going. I think it's a lot for people to sit through reading through that stuff. And so I just try to do like an hour at a time or something. But
yeah,
when it came time for her to testify, did you ever think that she would do it? And had she testified, do you feel that would have changed anything, or, you know, how would that have changed things, do you think? Because that's an interesting thought that somebody asked us in the chat. And I just think,
No, yeah, that is a really good question. And of course, you know, I don't know for sure, but I don't think it would have changed anything for the jury. And I'm not saying that they practiced any sort of, you know, deliberation before they should have. I think that by the time they got through the first couple mental health people, it was just over, you know.
Yeah. I agree.
But of course, you know, I don't know that for sure. So I don't think it would have changed anything for the jury. What I think it really would have changed is the coverage, the press coverage, both traditional and social media. I feel like it would have like broken YouTube for a day or so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because of that, that's why I'm surprised she didn't do it, because she knew she was beat even going into court. There's no way you're getting away with this woman, and she had to know it.
Yeah,
I mean, she's dumb in a lot of ways, but
well, if you watch the incident reports, when it got closer to trial, you know, the whole time she's starting trouble, but it gets closer to trial and they start saying, we found her in her room sitting on her bed crying. She's starting to say she wants to take her life. She knew that the time was up. But also,
Right.
like you said, she loves the attention. I mean, hell, she called the news people paparazzi.
Right. Right. And in that way, I'm surprised she didn't testify, but she had to know. I mean, she has to know that she's a shitty, terrible actor. I mean, if that 14 hours that she spent with Dr. Lewis, plus whatever time she had with her during the trial, which is a whole nother topic, but if that 14 hours that she spent with Dr. Lewis that was on the record was her like audition for the acting role of her lifetime, she knows she failed. Did you see that Maria shit?
Oh my God, yes.
So I think that it was a smart decision that surprised me. I mean, she's had a public relations campaign the whole time. She was way more interested in, damage control on Facebook than she was on even appearing to look for her stepson.
Yep, you're so right about that.
Know?
She was all about, even on the phone calls with Al, to the very end, she was so concerned with what people thought on, and even now, if we think about it, and those messages and stuff, she's
right. And she was already so far past what she had done to Gannon because she put it out of her mind. So that puts her back at the center. And that means when detectives are talking to her and when Albert's talking to her and when she's trying to cover her ass on Facebook, all of these things that she's doing, fakepolygraph.com, face transplant near me. I mean, obviously she's, oh God. I don't know. I just, the way that she was even just with the journalists, and what she expected them, what role she expected them to play in this, dumbass movie that she was making.
Yeah, it's like she thought she was a puppeteer or something. Thank you, Katrina, for gifting. She's like working all these people all around, Harley, Al, the detectives. Oh gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah, so something that Tellini said is that he believes that she just can't even admit it to herself. And Melissa Jade says that all the time too. Letecia can't even admit it to herself. There's no way she's ever going to come clean. It's not even possible because she can't even admit to herself what she did. See, she's zoomed past it. That's why she didn't want to be bothered with questions about it and the investigation and everything else. She's trying to block that out. She's trying to squish it down real low and step on it and keep, and she's trying to keep Gannon's memory out of her mind, out of her physical existence, out of her environment. She's in Prisneyland trying to pretend like she didn't murder this child.
Yep.
And that's not going to work out for her. I'm surprised she's lasted as long as she has.
Me too.
I mean, if everything works the way that I assume that it will, we don't have to worry about another inmate and prison justice. I believe that somebody like Letecia, in the right environment, she'll eat herself up.
Yep.
If she, I'm not saying like sensory deprivation or send her to Gitmo, right? I just feel like if she was left alone without any devices to manipulate others, she would eventually have to deal mentally with what she's done. And that's really the only true punishment for her.
You're right.
A true punishment for Letecia is absolute awareness of who she is. The she that not only she knows about, but the she that all of us see. Oh
my God, can you imagine that?
And then leave her alone in a cell with that woman.
And, don't forget, we've got incident reports where we see other inmates screaming, "Justice for Gannon," and things like that. Like they know. I do wonder in Kansas how familiar they are with her. And it sucks that we can't find anything out. Like I was telling the chat that we tried and put in that and what they wrote back. And it just sucks. I don't know. people were like trying to think of other ways we maybe could get it if they have to send her information to Colorado. But usually, isn't it just like a trade, or, like Colorado gets a Kansas inmate and then Kansas gets a Colorado and that's it? They're not communicating anymore.
I'm not sure exactly. I think that's the way it works, but I don't know for sure. I'm sure I could ask the right person now. I just can't remember. I know we've even talked about it before. I don't remember what the.
T. Adams says facial surgery is very painful and takes major recovery time. She's so ignorant. And then Michelle would like to spend a day undercover in the Topeka prison. I would not mind doing that either.
I don't know. It's just like that's what she's tried to do with her brain. Like she tried to do brain reconstruction surgery, in a county jail bathroom.
So you agree with them that she can't even admit to herself what she's done, basically.
Oh, I think she's capable. I think that she just will not. Okay. I think that it can be done. I think that, because, and that's like the first line of the book is her eyes were dark and bereft of conscience. And she doesn't feel guilty. She doesn't feel guilty. She has protected herself from feelings of guilt, in my opinion.
I agree with you, and I think it must be the only way she can live with it or something, but I actually don't know why. But her eyes, though, you are right. I will never forget that first court appearance in South Carolina, and the way that her eyes looked. It was just it was like looking at a damn demon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Stephanie. Midwest Meemaw says, let's face it, we all know she cheated to get the degrees she received, in my opinion. Well, her language is just horrible. I can't get over it. I mean, I was telling them, I don't know if you were here, but it reminds me of like Bentley. So like when I'm like, okay, go get your jacket off the coat rack. And instead of like taking his time and carefully getting it, he'll just yank it down and all the coats will fall. It's like she's like a child like that. Like even these kites, like slow down and write it a little better and you might get somewhere, but she just balls to the wall, manic almost.
Yeah. Well, and she does a lot of it to herself. Yeah, she's a whole mess.
Do you think she was taking a Vyvanse? Because I know that's a big theory that goes around.
It would make sense if she was. We just don't have proof.
Yeah.
But it would make sense.
With her staying up all night and all of that stuff and them not being found and everything. But like you said, without proof, we just don't know. And I don't, with her having no real history of that at all.
Right. Well, and I was thinking, this is probably going to sound fucking crazy. But I was thinking, what if creating this dissociative identity disorder shit, what if it was less about faking that she had it and more about finding out if she could slip herself into it, creating other personalities to get away from the traumatic thing that she did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is exactly what kind of calls
right.
that people when they're kids. Wow, that's really interesting. I don't think it sounds crazy.
And I think that she tried to actually give herself this thing and then tried to live it.
Well, that Kite we just read a minute ago, it says, hold on, I'm just going to search the word attacker. We're on in June of 22, but okay. So she says like here, this is just one, saw the attacker on Deputy Riley's face. I also got bite marks from K group. And why are the fumes still smell like gas? I guess this was out of order because I actually don't remember it yet. It's on page 1907. We haven't got to it yet, but this is from December of 2020. But then this other one, okay, she says, I understand searching. So she says Deputy Riley's like being too, touching her private areas, and it causes a mental breakdown from PTSD. This is why I met with the doctor for 5 hours last week. I understand searching, but not without warning before touching, because then my attacker's face goes on her body and I see them instead.
Right. And that's not why she met with the doctor for 5 hours last week. She met with the doctor for 5 hours last week because the doctor requested 5 more hours in the court, through the court, and then she got that 5 hours, which was an addition to her second competency examination.
Oh, okay.
And it was her trying to, I don't know. If she really did, if she really were successful in creating these alternate personalities as a way to hide and not deal with what she did, how do we get to that version?
Yeah.
I want to talk to that version.
That is such an interesting theory. Hey, Melissa Jade. Fauceted Dreamer says, my sister takes Vyvanse and she displays a lot of the same blank emotions. Well, do you remember that Google search about being in shock?
Right. Shock from seeing someone be shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wondered, did she feel like she was in shock? Did it bother her at all? Or was that to fake it? Or was someone else in shock? Like that ran through my mind too. Did someone else witness what happened and they were in shock? But I feel it's most likely she wanted to fake it. But I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Like for instance.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any number of things. And it might not be about Gannon at all. It might be, I know on one of the phone calls she talked about, I think it was her niece had seen somebody get shot. She was talking about various things that various members of the family had been exposed to. And they were talking about whoever, is it Billy Dial? I can't remember the name. But different things that various members of the family had been exposed to, just like bullshit things that they shouldn't have to deal with. Also, Letecia talks about, remember, she was talking about the things that happened to her in high school. This was on the jail calls, the recent ones.
Yeah.
Like she saw somebody die in high school. Do you remember?
I actually don't remember that on the call. No, I don't. I said, I don't grasp everything. I don't know why. I got to do it more than twice.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you in my experience, sometimes my brain just naturally wants to reject half of the bullshit I'm feeding it. It's just part of researching this case. My brain's like, no, bitch. No.
You ain't saving that here. Sorry.
No. Yeah, no. No, Jim, John, no.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, I didn't watch that. There was other calls put out on another channel, and I actually didn't watch all of them. But I get comments all the time about her claiming she was shot in the letter.
She did. So she was real crafty about the way she worded it, and it was in a phone call to her Aunt Katrina, and she was basically saying that she had been in there for a while with his gunshot to her leg. But she wasn't saying anything about it, oh God. Now, she was very careful with the way that she worded it. So she didn't say that police shot her in the leg. She didn't say deputies shot her in the leg. It was something that happened before she was arrested. Like after Gannon died, but before she was arrested. I'll clip it and send it to you, Allie, so that you.
Yes.
Yeah, I won't just send you over there blindly. I'll go in, I'll get it for you, I'll come back with it, and then you'll be safe.
Thank you. Tiffany said she cleaned the wound with water.
Right. But I naturally want to connect that to, remember when she's talking about Good Girls? Remember the kite that she sends where she's like, and you thought I was making it up because I watched Good Girls.
Yes.
And you were in the closet and I got shot. I got shot in the leg. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I think those two things go together as far as puzzle pieces go. So if you
picturing you doing a puzzle, like trying to make sense of it all.
Oh yeah, for 4 years. Yeah. I'm lucky I haven't grown a Father Time beard at this point.
I can't wait though. It's going to be worth it. It really is. And also the information you've gathered. I'm sorry. It's so it is so valuable to all of us, to me, to people, to the people who watch. I mean, just because it's accurate and you've spent so much time, it's so in depth. It's just fascinating, man.
Yeah, there have been plenty of times where I really wanted to quit. I mean, I'm just being honest. There have been so many times I wanted to quit because it's a lot.
I bet it is a lot. It is definitely a lot. And it definitely messes with your head a little bit. And it's hard to. What about during the trial? I mean, you were there and you saw a lot of these pictures and stuff in person. I can't imagine how. I know we've probably talked about this before, but those don't leave my mind. So I can't imagine being in person and how that, like the impact that had on you.
Well, I had one really bad day at trial, and that was the first day that they showed photos. It was the Friday before. So it was the first Friday, and it was the Friday right before the Monday where the autopsy photos were shown. They showed, it was during the testimony of Macon Ponder, bridge guy. Well, I can't say bridge guy. See what I almost did there?
Yeah.
Macon Ponder. It was when he was on the stand. And this was before they were angling the WebEx camera so that you could see the witness TV screen.
Yeah.
So nobody that was watching on WebEx was able to see what I saw. And I think that made the moment even more intense.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew I was going to have to talk about it. I mean, the stuff that you guys are already seeing, that, it's anyway.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because you want to explain what people can't see. But was it one of those pictures of that has Gannon in the suitcase? Like,
yes. And I will never be able to unsee it. It was, so there were 3 items that had been separated from each other, and it was the suitcase and its contents. So the suitcase was in the middle, open, and to the left was the pile of blankets and the pillow stuff. And then to the right was Gannon, and he was stuck in the fetal position.
Oh my God.
And that image, I can't unsee it. And the fact, I was very glad that Landon was not in the room. Albert was in the room. Albert was in the courtroom while that picture was shown, but he and everyone that was with him had their heads bowed, so no one was seeing it. They were just getting through the moment together in prayer, right? And then I'm on the other side of the courtroom, and it took me a while to figure out what I was even looking at. And then once I understood, and the reason I understood was because of that stripe that went down the side of his sweatpants.
Yep.
And as soon as I realized that that's what that was, and then I recognized that it was bent because his legs were bent, and then I actually saw what it was that I was looking at. It was an out of body sort of moment. I think that I left my physical body for a bit.
Oh my God, I cannot imagine. I've seen the picture. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I cannot imagine viewing that for the first time with his father right there, and just Letecia in there, and the energy.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, and meanwhile, the monster that did this is feet away from me. That was my really bad day.
I remember that. We're gonna come on that night. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I went back to the Airbnb and I got wasted. I did.
Yeah, I know.
It's a fact. It's what happened. Yeah, everybody was safe. I'm okay. Everybody's okay. But I had to actually leave my conscious state for the night. It was too much.
T. Adams says, I bet she didn't flinch. Did, when that picture was shown? Oh my God.
No. Didn't flinch a bit.
Mm-mm. She perked up when they showed those autopsy photos, in my
opinion.
She did.
Yeah. And now by the time the autopsy photos were shown, I was handling things much better. And even seeing that same photograph after the trial, which I did.
Right.
it just wasn't the same. It just, that moment in court, I'll never be the same after that. I mean, I'll never, I
Well,
already,
think about it.
this is a little boy that I'll never know. I'll never know him. But it's
But it
just the whole
feels
thing
like
has
we
just changed
do.
my life.
Even for us, it feels like we do. And you've done like so much deeper, in-depth research. So I can't imagine how you feel. But then again, like I said, you have the energy of his family, his father, the judge, the monster who did this to him, all in that room with you as it's being shown. Like,
Right.
What a moment.
I felt, yeah. Yeah, and there she sits like she hasn't done a damn thing wrong. I mean, just no signs of the conscience, just none.
What do you think about nobody showing up for her? Now, remember, we know that her Aunt Brenda told her that she was told she wasn't allowed.
Right.
But I mean, she did have some support at that time. So I
Yeah,
don't
she
know.
still had support. She's still got support today. I can't prove it, but I believe it to be true.
I do too.
I mean, using the attorneys as a cop out because there's something you didn't want to do, but you didn't want to admit you didn't want to do it. I mean, that sounds like something Brenda would do.
Yep, absolutely.
And with the publicity of the trial and there's just so much. I mean, I understand why nobody showed up. Even if they did support her, it probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Well, even look how her attorneys were treated. And at the end of the day, they were just doing their job.
Right. Right. And according to him, he still gets death threats today.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that ain't right. I don't like that, but I'm so glad you came up. Thank you so much. Because this was like just an unexpected, but really good conversation. Like I loved it. It was so interesting. I guess I'm going to end it because I really have to pee and then I have to get ready to go get Trenton in a little bit. But yeah, thank you for sharing your beautiful brain with us. I love it.
It's
Thank you guys
tricky.
in the chat for being here. Thank you so much. Well, I think that this has just changed you. You know what I mean? The Lucky Spinster says, I'm forever changed after being a nurse. And I think like the same thing with you in this,
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think we all are, to be honest, in a way, just not necessarily all in the same way. But all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really do love and appreciate you guys. And I'm going to jump off here and I'll see you really soon. Thank you. Make sure if you're a member, keep up with the members tab. There'll be little things over there and little Christmas giveaways everywhere coming soon, or little Christmas things and happening all month. So I can't wait. Thank you guys for being here. I love and appreciate you, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.
Bye.